Good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Michael. Our show is for information and educational purposes only. Right now, we're sharing the screen for our word of the day, which is Epicurean, of or concerning Epicurus or his ideas. Or an disciple or student of the Greek philosopher Epicurus, a person devoted to sensual enjoyment, especially that derived from fine food and drink. Here's a couple examples. Like a true Epicurean, he planned his vacations around the food he wanted to eat. Her Epicurean lifestyle immersed her in a world of rare wines and gourmet foods. So that's our word of the day for this beautiful Friday after all the rains we got here in California. Got even a little snow. So there we go. Now let's go over and take a look at our heat map. It is a heat map today after the market was up big yesterday and then kind of crashed, came crashing down. I'm just going to move this little advertisement out of the way. So most of healthcare is down. Eli Lilly is up. Microsoft's up slightly. Apple is up slightly. Meta continues its strong run. It did go above 520. I think it went up to 530 yesterday, then came crashing down to 512. It is, I believe, still above 520 now. Today on the good jobs number may put the Fed on a little defensive. We'll just have to see. Consumer defensive. Walmart is up. Costco is down slightly. Financial issues are up slightly. Consumer cyclical. Amazon is up. Energy is kind of bouncing around. Industrials, some are up, some are down. GE, that new spinoff, is really working wonders. So let us go to our chart. Before we go to the charts, let me just share this other screen. If you're ever worried about losing money that you've spent years building up because of a recession in 2008, market was down 54%. If you don't think you have time enough to make back that money, this is a good way to put your money. And right now, some of the annuities are offering 30 to 45% bonus. They beat index investing by about 5% per year. Index investing bob and weave to this, and annuities go up in value, go up in value, and go up in value. And sometimes they even offer something where you can get better than the index average by paying a fee. So sometimes they have 200 to 300% participation rate. So if you have any questions about this, check in with us. Safety, knowing your money, that hard-earned money that you spent years building up will not be lost. So there we go. Let's go to our charts. We got a 5-minute chart here of Elf Beauty. We had put on the 170, 175 option. We'll see if that works out. We just like Elf Beauty. I think it's oversold with Ulta Beauty's scare to the market. See what Ulta is doing today. It's down. As you can see, it gapped down quite a bit. I believe it's 14 or 15%. And the other one that we had put on was 4. came down, crashing where the market was up yesterday. Is up slightly. We have the 70-75 option on this one. And let's get started with the show here. Look at the dollar index. Dollar index tried to move up, pull back, is only up 2 cents. Silver pulled back strongly yesterday, and now it is up high again today, 2.4%. Maybe they think the jobs number was inflationary. Gold powering up as well. It sold off yesterday, and it is up strong. Look at our copper miner bouncing as well, up 1.73%. Look at our copper index ETF. Pulled back yesterday and is bouncing. FCX. Not as much of a bounce. Vale is having trouble moving at all, and it's continuing down. Our miner in Australia pulling back as well. And finally, let's take a look at Rio. Rio is having some issues as well. Ethereum was pulling back, I believe. Yes. Filled that gap and now has pulled back some. So we'll see where that goes. I think it's building a base here. Needs to get above the 50-day moving average. Had one day of high volume, but the other days it's low volume. So that is good. Take a look at Bitcoin. Tried to go up. It's definitely filled that gap. I think doesn't show it here, but yeah, on this ETF, it definitely shows there's this other gap to fill. So we filled the one gap. We'll see if we fill a couple of gaps here. Looks like it's pretty close to filling here. So we'll see if it can move up here. We got some pretty wild projections out there. Somebody's projecting it's going to pull back pretty strongly. And somebody else says it's going to shoot up to 80,000 from here. So let me just take a look and see if I can bring this other chart of Bitcoin. On Yahoo Finance. Now Yahoo Finance is working pretty slow. We'll come back to that later. Let's look at the treasury bond yields, see where they're at today. They're bouncing a little bit. Had pulled back strongly yesterday. Of course, that didn't do anything to help the indexes since they kind of crashed. So they move up. So treasury bond on the 10-year is at 4.37. And on the 20-year, is at 3.49, up 0.7%, hanging above its 200-day moving average. Take a look at the VIX or volatility index. It's pulling back a little bit. There is, I believe, this gap here. So we got this lower gap down here. So we'll see if we can fill this 1312 area. If that happens, the S&P 500 will definitely go up because the VIX is inversely correlated with the S&P 500. And S&P pulled back here a little bit, and now it's moving above its 20-day moving average. See if we got any broadening out when you take out the big cap tech. Look up a little bit on the equal weighted S&P. The NASDAQ got a bounce off the 50-day moving average at 1.56, and the equal weight is up 1.24, trying to get above its 50-day moving average. The small cap is bouncing as well, up 0.69%. Look like we filled this gap here. So we'll see if this is working on the handle. This is a cup with a handle, tried to move up and sold off. As we know, a little more than 2.5 years, and the Russell or small caps have not been able to hit a new high. Dow Jones bouncing as well, up 0.92%. See what is up 3%, and 50% increase in volume. I believe this is the coal sector. No, this is insurance, mortgage and reinsurance. Got a big move up here. Pull back, bouncing off the 10-day moving average. So it looks like we got a gap up this morning, up 3.6%. Pull this down a little bit so we can see our volume. Volume is, yeah, okay. Nothing to write home about. Vital Farms, organic butter. Look at all this institutional ants right here. It is pretty stretched to take out a new position right around 1606. I think would have been a place to get in. It's marching up. Eaton PLC up another 3.27%. Once again, this is pretty stretched. Get in, provides electrical power and control equipment. GE Aerospace. This is spinoff, and it just keeps moving up, marching up 4.6%. Spotify gapped up over here. Place to buy would have been 272.54, maybe on the low of this gap up. Huge volume over here. Look at all these blue bars together. HubSpot, some rumors that Google is trying to buy HubSpot. Broke out here right around here, 656.23, moving on up. If we come to the end, then that's the end. Let's see what's 5%, 100% increase in volume. A-Mark Precious Metals. Looks like it's a breakout right here. 31.81. Could have bought it right over here. And 31.91 would have been a good breakout, 10 cents above the previous high. We got some pretty good blue bars in here. Definitely moving up. Constellation Energy. Excuse me. I think the breakout would have been right around here. right around 127.70, 122. Could have bought it on the low. Had a really tight area right here. If you didn't get in over here, you could have got in right here. Earnings came in at, let's see what did the negative 11 cents. But it's just been moving up ever since then. Here's another little shallow area. Could have bought a breakout 185.68. Not too much above that right now. So be watching this if you want to take a chance. Earnings are supposed to be up 20% this year, another 6% next year. Relatively new issue. Geo Group broke out here at 12. Actually, it was right over here, 11.45. And it's just been marching on up ever since. This might be it. If you had issues, this is where you could do an ad. Pretty good volume right over here. A lot of blue bars. IES Holdings is up, provides electrical data communications. Look at all the blue buying bars right there. Krispy Kreme. They signed an agreement with McDonald's. Had a gap up on the news over here. Been pulling back ever since. This might be a watch list. See if that gets some add-on buying. Had some pretty big selling right here. Some people that had been holding for a while, maybe they bought above here and they're just getting back to break even. So that's something that we call overhead supply. That's something you need to watch out. See all the people buying up here and here and here. Now they're getting back to break even and they just went out. So that's something to be concerned about. Kura Sushi in the food area. So it's been trading down around here, around a 90.92. This day would have been a nice day to get in. You might have been challenged as it pulled back to the 50-day. Now there's a gap up today. And finally, Lifeway Foods just continues roaring. See this bottoming base right here, gaps up. It's been a nice day to get into it. And it just keeps going up. Look at all these blue bars. So that is, I guess we're not quite done. Got a few more issues here. I don't know if we're going to look at all of them. Silver, of course, is doing good. Tamper Energy, Argentine company. We looked at this a couple of days ago on this move. Continues moving higher. There's a good mix of red and blue. We'll just have to see if it is able to continue this move up or not. Repositrack. Software services allowing retailers, manufacturers to manage. It broke out right here about 12.85. Bunch of blue bars here. Pulled back on lower volume. Pull back to the 20-day moving average, not doing anything wrong. And this might have been a good day. If you had the issue, be a good day to add. This is what we call a pocket pivot. Bouncing off the 20-day moving average. We got an add-on pocket pivot here. Big move up here, pulled back. Got some strong selling, but it didn't violate the 10-day moving average, and it's just been bouncing off of it ever since. In the surgical area, Star Surgical. Got a nice gap up here, massive volume, and it continues on up. On to what's up 10%. Only two companies, one that we didn't look at in the up 5%, up 10%, and 200% increase in volume. This is Argentine company. I guess we looked at them in, it was up 3%. And look at all these blue bars. This continues on. This might be a different one. I can't recall, but and let me just go back and pull this up again. Yeah, I guess it is the same one that was in the previous column. And it is up big. Look at all these blue bars. It has just been marching, marching, marching up. It's broken out and it looks like it's a little stretch right now. Would not recommend it for a buy. A-Mark Precious Metals. Got a strong move off the 200-day moving average right here. Got all these blue bars coming in, kind of alerting you once it got above the 50-day moving average. I would have recommended a nibble. Pull back here to 20-day, and then we got a pocket pivot right here. Pull back again, and then we got a big kind of gap up and raise to its high. We'll just have to see how precious metals continue to react. So let's look at ALAB. This is a new IPO. Morgan Stanley brought this to market. I just put this on today to the 75.80 IPO base. Usually are 16 to 20 days before the breakout. We're not sure if this will break out, but taking a little chance here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days. So maybe another 6 to 10 days. We'll continue to watch this, see if it breaks out. We put it on for May. So we gave it a little room. I have 75.80. I do believe we have something on IPOs over here. It was 2019, and let's see what we have. Any of the recent one, not the one that I was looking at. There's one other IPO that I was kind of looking for, but let's take a look at ELF. I'm not sure if this is bottoming base or whatnot on this big sell-off on Ulta Beauty. Take a look at it on the 5-minute chart. It's just kind of trading in a range. You give it a couple more days and see where this goes. For Square, got a nice bounce here. Did pull back pretty strong yesterday, but we'll see if this is bottoming base and can get above 70. We have the 70, 75 May option on this one. Look at Square. Tried to move higher yesterday, big sell-off, but now it's bouncing today. And Toast. These three are all in the same area. We said we bought Toast right over in this area, then it gapped up on earnings. Kind of bouncing around. Right now we did put a covered call on this, I believe at 29. Duolingo. Still pretty much in a range. So this is our box, bouncing up and down, up and down. And then CrowdStrike. Doing about the same thing. Had pretty good earnings. 12-month target. The best 12-month target was $435. We do have the 330 call on this. Not sure if we're going to get there. We did also short 330. We did a 330 credit put spread, 330 to 324. So we'll see how that plays out. Pretty low volume on the pullback here. This is pretty good. We want to see. CrowdStrike has made it difficult to get in on a base. This is base, and right after pull back, pull back, pull back, and then it just kind of gapped up. Same thing here. Pull back pretty strong. And then gapped up on earnings, and then it's just been bouncing around ever since. So we'll just keep our eyes on it. I think this is a pretty good issue leader in security solutions for a number of companies. Meta really has taken off. We had a covered call at 520. Took that off yesterday. We may have taken off a little too high a cost, but we got it off, and we just didn't want to get out of the shares, so kind of bounced around, and we'll continue to watch that. NVIDIA. Fell below its 20-day moving average for the first time in a long time. We'll see if it's pulling back for a new base, but just kind of pausing, waiting for the 50-day moving average to catch up. We're just going to keep hanging on to NVIDIA. ARM. It's just kind of bouncing along. Kind of resembles a high type flag. The 50-day moving average is now caught up to ARM. I'll just kind of see if there's any buying on this downdraft. We only had really one day that was down strong. The others are all under 50-day moving average. So this is a positive. See if we get some buying strength come back into it. These are our AI companies. Super microcomputer had this huge run up. High type flag as well. Waiting for the 50-day to catch up to it. Not a bad idea for it to pause and base out here. It's pulling back on low volume, much like ARM. And one day came back. So there we go. MicroStrategies, kind of pulling back with Bitcoin. We do have a number of people, high number of shorts in this issue. So there's a big potential for a short squeeze if there's any run up in the stock. if Bitcoin really takes off. They started out with 191,000 Bitcoin when we talked about this trade right over here, and then it propelled higher. We can see the institutional ants getting in right over here, pulls back. This isn't the place that you should buy or anything because a number of times they're late in buying stock, but we're still holding on. We looked at the covered call on this. So we just want to wait on any covered call, maybe add a covered call at some strength. So that is the story with MicroStrategy. See if we can bring up Netflix. Just kind of go over the big cap tech here. Netflix, we have a 650 covered call for May. That may or may not get hit. If it does, we don't feel too bad because it's already up like 22%. We recommend taking any profits 20 to 25%. Take your losses 3 to 5%. So there we have it. It's up another close to 3% today. Volume has been kind of muted. We had this one big day of selling, but it just pulled back to the 10-day moving average. It's been kind of following the 10 or 20-day moving average and in nice tight order. Google, kind of bouncing around. See if it's going to get a cup with a handle. 1.68%. Amazon, not doing too much, but it's just riding along the 10-day moving average here. It's trending up. Microsoft, pretty much riding, since it had this nice move up, pretty much riding the 20-day moving average, up 1.74%. All the selling volume came in lower volume. Apple is pulling back, kind of trading within a range here. It is under all of its major moving averages. That's a risk with Apple. Take a look at Tesla. Got a little more bad news today. So it's tried to move up yesterday and now it's selling off again today. It is kind of rallying after this bottom here. We'll just kind of see where that goes. They canceled, I guess, the cheaper version. I guess the $25,000 EV model. So that is the story there. Let's take a quick look if there's any. Yeah, there is RTX. A few days ago, we had put this on a kind of this up move here. We did a 94.99 spread. So we took profit on half of the spread, sold 5 of them, and then we rolled over the other 5 that we had from did the 94.99, rolled it up to the 100, 105. So that is where we're doing with RTX. Celsius is the other issue that we're kind of watching. So we said we bought half of them at, I believe it was 57, had options, and the other half of the options we rolled up to 67 on the big move, and then we moved all those into the stock. And then we initially put on a $100 covered call, and when most of the profit was rolled out, we rolled it down to the $85 covered call. We'll just see where that rolls, whether we want to close that. We got 2 more weeks. We'll just kind of see if we have to close that or what, or if we'll let it close out and then just get back into the stock. This is our crude, triple hedge crude. Keeps rolling on up. This is a huge cup. This is a cup with a handle. This was a good day. Get it up. When it was down around 26, we put on a $30 covered call, and then we just let it roll into the stock. So that's where we are right now. And the only other one we want to take a look at that we have is app. We bought the covered calls at not the covered calls, the call options at 45. And I wrote it right before earnings, and then it popped up after earnings, up to about 57, and it just keeps riding this 10-day moving average all the way up. The earnings aren't until May 8th, so that's kind of what we're riding right now. Let's take a look at some of the leading ETFs. Financials got a bounce off of the 20-day moving average. Energy keeps moving up. Take a look at oil pricing. Keeps riding on up. That's why so that's up almost 1%. And UCO is at 1.6%. This is why we like this one. And a flat market, it tends to lose money because it's triple hedged, and so they have to buy all those options back. I believe it's a daily repricing of that. But when it's moving on up, it is nice to trend with the market. Communications is where Google and Facebook are. Facebook Meta kind of bouncing off of the 10-day moving average. As you can see, it's just been riding the 10 and 20-day moving average all the way up here. This is a breakout area. This would nice one to ride all the way up. Utilities, bouncing off the 20-day moving average, trying to stay above the 10-day here. It's pretty flat because it had sold off in the morning from yesterday and now really gapped down. And so now it's trying to stay pretty close to 65. Real estate, you would think a little bit of pressure with the bond yield coming on up. Biotech sold off, got a gap down and trying to move up. It's up close to 1.5%. Our other biotech doing very similarly, up a little over 1%. Our software bouncing. One we're really watching is ServiceNow. You can see it's in a flat base. If you wanted, you could kind of put on, if I was going to put on a spread option, I think I'd put on the 780, 790 here. Or you could put this 790 800 if you think it's going to break out here. It's been in a long base for flat base for a while. Pivot is 815. So if you put it on right here, there's a couple of rolls you could get in, the 780, the 790, 790 to 800, 800 to 810. So that would be kind of my strategy there. Our technology, trying to bounce off the 50-day, pulled back kind of strong from the 212 area. Infrastructure, got a little bit of a bounce here. Semiconductors, trying to get above their 20-day moving average. Airlines, bouncing off of their 50-day out of the office, bouncing off the 20-day. Airbnb is kind of like a leading area here. Pulled back a little bit, bouncing now right close to its 50-day moving average. Has a nice pause as the 50-day is caught up to where the stock price is. See if we can get a little bit of a bounce. Earnings aren't for another 33 days. Industrials, got a little bit of bounce here. Healthcare, we saw Eli Lilly is kind of leading healthcare. We got a pretty strong move down, came slicing through the 50-day moving average. I'll need to set up once again to get back into this area. Consumer staples pulling back below its 50-day moving average. Mining and metals broke out 2 days ago, pulled back yesterday, and it's trying to get back in that area again. So we got 1, 2, generally 3 waves down, and it will head on up. As you can see, this is kind of a flat base, a little box area that we've been talking about. And the buy point is when it kind of propels right through that box. Building materials, Home Depot, Lowe's are in this area. Home Depot, take a look. It's pulling back. I think this is Lowe's. And finally, our home builders bouncing off the 20-day moving average. And then this is our FANG index for all the big cap techs. They're bouncing around. Place to buy would have been 212.22, and you would have had quite a ride up as this is moved higher. So that's kind of our, we got to show. There's a couple other issues that this is in software. Had a big sell-off. We had gotten out of GitLab. We had bought them right around 55, I believe, right before earnings, and they gapped up, and we sold them somewhere in this area. I think we had a covered call, and we just let them take the stock. We weren't sure about earnings, and it had fallen down on their earnings, even though the earnings were up 600%, less than what people were expecting. Salesforce kind of bouncing around. We looked at HubSpot. I guess one of the ones that we didn't look at that we are currently holding, originally talked about it on our show right around here around the 31 area. Took some profits here, got out of it, bought some options back here at right here actually at 49, and then let them just roll into the stock. And we have a covered call on 7 out of our 1500 at 70. So 2 weeks, if it doesn't get up to 70, we're going to keep that money, and we can always do another covered call. That's what we like about covered calls, bringing in a little more income. If we're going to continue holding the stock, that's what we did with ELF. So we had the 220 covered call when most of the money ran out. We rolled it down to the 185, brought in some more income, and then we got the call option, the 170, 175. We'll just see if it pays dividends. Where we like Elf Beauty's stock and what they've been able to do, so we're willing to hold through this downturn, and we think it'll create another base. So that is the story there, and that's our show for today. Once again, we had a great contractor that worked with us. If you ever want to do any flooring, Bella's Flooring would be a great person for you to choose. Jose does a great job. We greatly appreciated everything that he did. And if you want any more information, feel free to send me a comment. And that is our show for today. Go out there and have a great weekend. Keep working on your goals and your activities. And if you have any financial goals or activities you want to discuss, we'd be happy to help you in any way we can. This has been Mornings with Michael for education and information purposes only. You need to go out there and do your own due diligence to see if what we talk about fits within your goals. And while I was talking, I forgot to talk about this company, Denison Mines, in the uranium mining area. We originally talked about it when it was 179, broke out, retested and came up here. We sold it at 2, pulled back here. We bought it back at 194, and it looks like it's getting ready for a breakout here. So that's a little added bonus. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you later.